Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we'll look at how we can access our virtual machine that's running on VirtualBox using PuTTY. PuTTY is a tool that allows us to use SSH to remotely connect to the server that we might be running. So in this case, we'll be connecting to a Linux virtual machine, and it's going to be a Kali Linux virtual machine running on VirtualBox, and we'll be using PuTTY, which allows us to use SSH to connect. We can either use a username and password, or we can use SSH keys. In today's video, we'll just be using the username and password. Let's go ahead and install PuTTY. It's a free tool, so just open your browser and search for PuTTY download. Then go to the PuTTY.org website. When you get to this page, just click on download PuTTY, and you want to go with the installer. I'm going with the 64-bit, so just click on it, and it should be a quick download, and it's already done. Once you have it downloaded, just go ahead and open the location where you downloaded it to, and double click on it to install it. So I'll click on next here. Next, I'm going with the defaults, and it's going to install PuTTY, and also it's going to install PuTTY Gen, which allows us to generate PPK keys. So look around in my videos. You should see me showing how you can use these keys with PuTTY to connect to a Linux machine. Now in this case, let's just finish the installation and click on install. Click on yes. Just gonna uncheck this, click finish, and the installation is done. Now let's search for it here. Let's look for PuTTY, and there it is. This is the app. Let me change the font here. Just click on the default session, go to appearance, change. You can increase the font. So the default font is 10, it's kind of small. I'm increasing mine to 14. Click OK, go back to session, you gotta save it. And you can check it. Now it's saved. The next thing we'll do is I'm gonna make a setting change to my virtual machine. So I'm gonna go to the settings here and network. I'm gonna change this to bridge adapter. That way I can access this device from any device on my network. So I'm gonna go with bridge. I'm gonna click OK, and then I'm gonna start the virtual machine. And I'll pause the video and come back once the machine has booted up. So it's done booting up. I'm gonna go ahead and log into it. And there we are. We're logged into the Kali Linux machine. Now, before we can try and use PuTTY, we need to get the IP address. And we also need to verify that SSH is running. Because if it's not running, we'll get an error if we try to log in. Actually, I'm just gonna verify that. Let's see the IP address using the IP address command. So the IP address is 172.16.1.102. Let me open PuTTY here again. Okay, now the host name or the IP address is this one right here. So let's put 172.16.1.102 and port 22 for SSH. We'll click OK to connect. And we're getting network error, connection refused, and it doesn't tell us what's going on. So I'm gonna click OK here and close this. I'm gonna open the logs just to see if there's anything in the logs. Now, the way to check the logs on here is to use journalctl. We used to have syslog and auth.log, but those no longer exist. So to show you briefly what I'm talking about, I'll open another tab here. And I'll just go to, I'm gonna list that.log to see if the files that are in here. So in here we used to have syslog. If you look around, you're not gonna see no longer have syslog, no longer have auth.log. So the only thing we can use at this point is journalctl to check our logs. Let me clear this. And the command is journalctl -f for refresh. And I'm not seeing anything here about SSH. So let's go ahead and check status of SSH. We'll go ahead and check the status of SSH here. System ctl status SSH, and it's disabled, it's inactive. So we have to enable it. We'll use system ctl start SSH. Now, if you wanted your SSH to run every time you boot up your machine or reboot, you can use enable, and this will change to enable instead of disable. That way you don't have to enable it every time. But in our case, let's just go with this option, start SSH. We'll put the password here. So we'll repeat the systemctl status SSH again. And now it's active running. And it's listening on port 22. Now we'll open PuTTY again. And we'll go with the 172.16.1.1.2. And actually, if we check the logs here, it's showing us the same logs, starting SSH service, listening on port 22. So let's go ahead with the login and let's click open. And the first time you log to a machine using SSH, it's going to look at the host keys and see if you've logged into it before. So if you haven't logged into it before, it's going to ask you if you trust that device. And I'm going to say I accept, I trust it. And now I'm presented with the login screen. And here I'll just put in a username, and then the password. And I'm logged in, and right away, as you can see here now, I have accepted password for the user email, session opened. And normally this one also shows the same thing, accepted password for email. So if you use system ctl start as SSH, you'll see the logs also. If I was to be denied, it will show the logs that you're denied. If I exit, so let's do W, and we see that we are using SSH here, and we are coming from this IP. And then we have this login from the console. Now we can exit, and we should get logs also when we exit. Here I deactivated the session 5 logged out. If somebody tried to log in and they fail, maybe they put in the wrong password, that should also show. So let me put in that email, and let me put the wrong password. Authentication failure. Okay, where you try to log in from, the IP and the user. Failed password for Okay, that's all for this video. That's how you can use PuTTY, which allows us to use SSH to remotely connect to a Linux machine that's running on our VirtualBox. So I hope this information has been helpful. I'll catch you in my next video. Thanks. Bye.